clarify the Delvin Breaux situation.
Yeah, look, so he's flying to Green Bay. Dr. Anderson's going to do a surgery on his leg. The smaller bone, the fibula, has a fracture site right below where his initial plate was. So that old plate will come off. They'll put a new plate on, secure that, and the timeline would be approximately 6 weeks with the fibula.
Is that more dangerous or different because it's the second time, or does that not?
No, I don't think it's either. In other words, they're fairly, I don't want to say simple to heal, but if you're going to have a fracture, the fibula is one that is a little bit more easier with the ability to plate it and rehab it, different than a tibia or something that would be a much longer time frame. And fortunately, it's not in the joint. It's just below. It's below where his prior injury was.
Was there a reason why the diagnosis was different for this one, or?
No, listen. It was the initial diagnosis was a negative when they looked at the scans, and it, certainly X-rayed, did a CT scan. There was nothing that they were able to see, and then gradually, throughout the 2-week period, it became more clear. And listen, fortunately, the other day in the second opinion, he was able to see something more significant, and that's a setback. And obviously, it's it's disappointing for him, but more importantly, something that slowed down the progress.
Sean, when you look at players always get a second opinion, but how crucial is it that you get the first opinion is right within the organization?
Yeah, you're always, trying to give the best opinion possible, and it's one of those positions with every team that there's always that I guess you'd say level of importance to come up with the right opinion, and for years those guys have done a great job, and yet there was a point at which we just felt as an organization that that change was going to be necessary for us, and we'll be in the process of going through different candidates and who we think.
And now, do you stay within the Oshler organization or outside?
Well, it's separate. It's not tied. So that search would be A, short term, now, and then B would be a long term solution. And look, our tie to Oshler is fantastic. So it's separate in regards to what we're looking for and who we're looking for.
Sean, what do y'all do on this in the short term going to LA?
This very trip will work with the Chargers orthopedic personnel, and that works because we're practicing with another team. Obviously, if we weren't, then we would have someone on hand ourselves.
Do you have a timetable you'd like to?
No, I think Mickey will and there'll be a series, I'm sure, of interviews and making sure we look at really the whole litany of candidates.
How unusual would you say this whole situation is?
I think it's not unusual periodically to over time have a second opinion and maybe change the course of the direction you're going. This one's a little unique in that it deals more specifically with an area that showed up as a negative and then later became more pronounced through the rehab process. But I think periodically it's what I told our team. There's times where, man, when this happens with a player, eventually a decision's made and the club moves on. And when it happens with a coach or the head coach, the same thing applies. And certainly that umbrella of just the confidence level in other areas applies as well. It's a competitive business, and it's part of the NFL.
Does it change how you view Delvin maybe in any
way?
way?
Listen, he's been real diligent, and I know, speaking for him, which I don't want to do, he wants to get healthy, where he can get out there and compete, and I certainly was pushing him based on what the information I was getting, and so You know, he's going to have the surgery here, I believe tomorrow, and then quickly get into rehab. And Anderson's a guy that who's always been in Charlotte, just recently moved up to Green Bay. He's someone that'll do the procedure.
Sean, is that the source of the frustration, that you're pushing him because you think?
Well, you're always looking for the right information, and so it's you know that. But I think it's not one event. It probably builds up over a period of time, and you're hoping you're not going to bat 1,000 here, but you're just hoping that more often than not you're getting the right information.
You mentioned pushing Delvin when he thinks he's more hurt than the doctors are saying. I mean, do you worry about how the team receives that relationship with?
No, we met. Listen, we had a good visit last night, and I think what everyone wants, the team, the coaches, everyone wants that, that high level of accountability that's necessary to be successful.
It sounds like what you're describing is more radiology than orthopedic. Is that right, or is it a combination of both?
No, it's a bone, so it would be.
But it's the radiologist who has to see it.
Yeah, but he's going to give a reading, which was negative. There's going to be a series of eyes that go on something like this, and quite honestly, that first reading was made by a number of specialists, and it just came up negative, and it was one of those that was hard to see and then became more pronounced.
Have you talked with Delvin since this recheck? And
I haven't since the recheck, and I'm sure he and I will visit.